Last important question.
Yes.
Are you still doing a lot of voice work for the game?
Oh, absolutely. That's our model. I mean, not me doing voices, but trying to get, I'm doing voices. Michael Bross is doing voices. We'll see how many other people are doing voices. There's some YouTubers doing voices.
Oh man.
So some, fans that are like, we offered them the ability to get in there and have some fun with us. We did that last time with the audience itself. We had fans, supply voices, and then we went through it all. But it was such a hard process, just vetting, listening, managing that hundreds and hundreds of submissions. Managing it is just like, man, it's just too much. It was too much work for us. But it was fun to see the fans participate. They got in the game. They got free games out of it. But I always looked at it like Jim Henson. Which is all those voices in the Muppets. Mm-hmm. They were the puppeteers.
Yeah.
So if you were going to be the animator, you had to do the voice. So being a puppeteer meant more than just operating the action. You had to actually play out the character.
Yeah, you had to be that character as well as, actually animate and do it. You're kind of doing the entire thing for it.
Exactly. And so, Oddworld was kind of very much inspired by Jim Henson. And others, but Mel Blanc, and I was like, well, they didn't go around and hire Brad Pitt to do the voice, When I watch Brad Pitt doing an animated movie, it just doesn't resonate for me. Bruce Willis being a raccoon. I hear Bruce Willis.
That's the huge issue. It's like, oh no, you are Jack Black. You're not some, I don't know, guinea pig in this movie. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, Pixar does it better because. I look at or South Park even does it better. I remember watching a South Park episode one time, and in the episode there was a dog, and a dog occasionally went woof, 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 right? And then you get to the end and you read the credits. It's who's the biggest movie star today?
Oh jeez, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No, the one who came from the medical show on TV.
Oh God,
Jasmine, help me out here. Who's the came from medical TV series and then became George Clooney?
Oh, geez. Okay, yeah.
Sorry to bother you. I keep bothering Jasmine.
I like it.
But so he as you read the letter, the woof was brought to you by George Clooney. Woof, woof. I mean, that's like, I love shit like that.
That's amazing.
Looney Tunes, Mel Blanc was like mind-blowing voice artist. He could do anything. He did Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam. All those were one guy, right? Amazing stuff. And then I watched DreamWorks start making animated movies. Well, let me say, so Pixar, you still have these characters that would come from the animation group. I think his name's slipping me right now. Gee, what a surprise. But he did I'm watching you. And Mark Silvestri. And he was, an animator, right? And he's doing one of the coolest voices in the movie. I'm watching you.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll find that talent within instead of reaching for someone who's known.
Yeah. And even, if you go with someone, if I was going with someone who's known, I'll be like, look, if it's not a character, if it's you, no. I'll do you as a character.
Yeah.
You got to give me a character like Mel Blanc or something like that, And to which Brad Pitt would say, piss off. And to which I'd say, I can't afford you anyway. So, what's the point? But yeah, so we like to try and have fun with the voices. We oftentimes get into part of the reason is if you deal with the scripts, you're all doing predictive assumptions. You predict that the script is right. But when you actually play the game, it might not. It might have to change. Then you got to go back to the agencies in Hollywood. Then you got to go back to SAG. Now you're trying to get that actor, but he's on a set somewhere. So in order to have him re-record this voice, you're now paying 5 times as much. It's just a Hollywood inflation game, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, no, we know we're going to change the script tons of times to delivery because we're making games, man. There's all kinds of surprises, some of them good, a lot of them not so good. And so we need to adapt. And if we're staying locked to a script that we can't change and it's going to really up the budget if we do, we're going to be in trouble. So let's try to avoid that model. So as Oddworld, we've never signed on and used SAG actors. We've only used people that were either fans. Sometimes those fans were celebrities, but they did it for free. Right? The last game had a few different celebrities in there, actors and musicians. And they love our games, and so they were willing to do it. And we're like, this is kind of our model, We're we're not cheap. I mean, we're kind of doing it cheap, but we kind of are cheap because that's all we got, you know. And what you find is that people want to participate. And if we can do that again and again, you know, that's the model. And that way, when we go into the sound booth, we go, you know, I'm talking to Michael Bross, right? He's doing the audio again. He did the audio on Munch's Odyssey. He wrapped it up, and then he did Stranger from beginning to end. He helped deliver New and Tasty's audio, and on this one, he's handling the whole thing. But he does a lot of voices. So he does townsfolks in Stranger. He does Mudokons. And he's great with voices. So he and I will get in there, we'll write something, and then we're doing it in the booth, and it's just not funny. So we just start ad-libbing until we get something that's funny.
Yeah.
And we can do that. And then we come back 6 months later, and we go, oh, shit, story changed, and this changed to make this better. We got to get back in the booth, dude. You know, and then you
have that freedom. You don't have to
freedom.
go call Brad Pitt again and be like, hey, I need to pay you double now because we need to change this.
Exactly. And we don't have any illusions as to how complicated it is. But we've tried to forsake the complications for sake of in exchange for having flexibility and being able to tune and adapt to the end. Because it is a real fuzzy science. You know, you show me a game that is designed to be a hit from paper, and I'll show you a lie.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning a great game is partially discovered along the way, and it adapts. And we feel all kinds of games that somehow the heart and soul is just missing. Something that just doesn't jive. And a lot of times they just executed on what the plan was. But they didn't pivot. They didn't adapt. They didn't change. They didn't go, you know, it's just not working. Right? If you watch the outtakes to 40-year-old version, what they did was they shot the script. It was like the first thing they shot. And then they just said, just do it over and over and over until we're laughing. Right?
Yeah.
And so if you remember the scene where they're on the couch playing and like, you know how I know you're gay. Like they were doing all these jokes on each other. That was all improv. They just came. The director who was smart enough, he's like, these guys are hilarious, man. Let's just put them on the couch. They're gamers. And most of the scenes were done this way. They'd shoot the script, and then they'd shoot variations based on actors' impulses being on the scene, and based on the set's reactions. Are we all laughing? If you've watched comedy writers for television series, you know, it's like 12 writers in the room. There's not one writer. There's like 12 writers in the room, particularly comedy. And these guys they just batting around, throwing out ideas until the whole room starts laughing. They go, that's it. We're going with that one. Next.
Yeah. That's probably where most great humor moments from movies, from television shows come from, is that moment where they're going back and forth. They're, you know, moving it around. They say, oh, that's what's funny. That's what makes us all laugh here. And that was not even remotely close to what the script said. Exactly.
And that's like an emergence, right? That's an emergent thing. And it's unpredictable. But what happens is you get the chemistry in the room and you start learning, and then it starts educating, and you find greater possibilities. You know, it's not like someone goes, hey, man, I've been working on this joke for 2.5 years. Let me read it for you. You know, chances are that joke sucks.
Yep.
right. You know, but, you know, there you go.
Yeah.